course, there's a loud truck as I'm trying to record this intro. But this is the intro. This is also a disclaimer that this video is about a particular person in the trans community who's kind of a transphobic, hateful, kind of awful person. So this is a disclaimer that if you're sensitive to that sort of thing, maybe skip this video. And also, maybe skip this video if you know me in real life and you don't want to hear things that are TMI. Because we're going to dive into some of that here. And I had a few other things I wanted to mention, which is that, well, first of all, apologies to Nayara VT. That's a hard name to say. It's like Yara, but with an N in front of it. You know what I'm talking about, right? Nayara VT. I'm sorry for anything I said on Mary Chu's channel that was offensive. I think the only thing I ever said about her was that her voice is insufferable. Because this guy in the other video I talked about came along and he accused me of... I don't think I said what he was saying. I think the only thing I actually said about her is that her voice was insufferable. But I actually like her voice now. But if I did say what he said I said, then I no longer agree with that shit, because I was in denial of who I was, and I was in a bad place because I was listening to someone like Mary Chu. And Mary Chu is a bad person to listen to when you're in a place of denial and pretending to be normal. Who's Mary Chu? Mary Chu is a transphobic TERF trans woman who lives in England. Say that 5 times. I did, because I told a bunch of people about it today, about how ridiculous of a person she is. You know what, Mary? Instead of making fun of me that I'm clocky looking, you could have made a painting on your eyebrows tutorial for me, because you also have your eyebrows obliterated. So you could have done an eyebrow tutorial showing me how to pretty myself instead of sitting around and making fun of me. It's funny that a woman who calls a trans woman who calls herself a man as a cope from not being passable enough would spend her time making fun of other trans people such as myself because we're not passable enough looking for her, someone who calls herself a man. But whatever. And the other thing I wanted to say was, later in the video I talk about my beliefs that gender is located in the soul. There's male spirits and female spirits, and sometimes they get a little mixed and screwed up, where you get a female spirit in a boy body like me, and then you have a trans woman. That's what that is. I would be a trans woman if I never even transitioned. That's just what I am. Pretend to be normal all you want. That's just what you are, okay? And I wanted to make a statement about that, which is that, look, I don't know that non-binary people do or don't exist, because I don't experience my life like that. I experience a state of being female, which is located in the soul. It has nothing to do with this meat suit or DNA or biology or any of that shit. All right, so, but what I'm gonna say about that is, what I think that could be is like, okay, so you have your source consciousness where we all come from, right? And it was lonely, and it split itself, it like fractured itself into male and female spirits, right? And then those spirits come down, they come in, incarnate into these bodies, right? But what if it is that non-binary people, they're like direct from source consciousness before it fractures, and they come down and incarnate into these bodies so that consciousness can experience experience what's going on from that perspective too. I don't know. I don't claim to know, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm shitting on what other people experience in life or anything like that, because I'm not. Like, I don't know what's going on here. I just know what I've gone through in life, and I have the things I believe, and other people have the things that they believe, but we don't really know what's going on in life, and that's the beauty of it. That maybe it's supposed to be that way, because where we come from, all the spirits know like what there is, just have eternal consciousness that goes on forever. We're bored, so we come down here to experience things like this, like being born transgender and having fun, different experiences. But some people deal with it differently than others, don't they? And I have one last thing I want to say, which is that, hey Mary, just because people aren't rude to you for being trans and treat you like shit for being trans doesn't mean they don't secretly hate you behind your back. And you know, all the people that you have in your live chat that you think are your buddy pals, that they like you because you're transphobic towards yourself, well, they would throw you under the bus in an instant. They would do bad things to you if they were in a room alone with you with no consequences. So don't think these people are your friends, Mary. Okay, bye. Well, now, this is me from the future. It's about to show you me in the... This is all me in the past, but this is me in the future compared to what you're about to see, because this is the intro. Okay, we're about to start the main video of this me from like earlier today before I had electrolysis, and this is me from after I had electrolysis, and you're about to watch me talking about Mary Chew for like an hour or something like that. And play the video, Billy.
Hello, Mary. I'm more British than you are, and I'm more trans than you are, and I'm older than you too. I'm better in every way. I'm just fucking with you. You kind of fell right into my trap, Mary, because you see, the thing is, I was originally planning on just being in boy mode for like the first 2 years of being on Titty Skittles, but basically I've been repressing this shit so long that I started dressing more femme and shit. And the reason I did is so that people like you would be transphobic against me, so that you would spend your time being transphobic against me instead of harming people who are more sensitive than me, who can't handle that shit. I mean, you were pretty scummy before, Mary. Like the way that you would let people on your show and let them just slander people and say awful things about people. Like Yuko EX. You let people come on and slander the shit out of her, and then they're like, oh, I wonder what she looks like. But yeah, but you guys just said trans women are yucky, so like, why do you care what she looks like? And it's also, you know, it'd be one thing, Mary, if you were making money, if you were like, you had a monetized channel and you were just, you know, attacking people's philosophy, having a philosophical discussion, but apparently you're just in there just making fun of the way clocky baby trans people. I've only been on Titty Skittles for like 6 months. I started September 9th and it's near the end of February 2026 right now. So I've been on it for like 6 months. So apparently, see, one of your little minions came and told me about this, which I don't know if they're telling the truth, but it's probably true. I don't really want to have to go dig around and investigate for myself, but they're probably telling the truth. That you run a live stream and you were just digging around people's profiles and making fun of the way we look. And then you're like making fun of me, like you were, thanks, by the way, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. You spent extra time making fun of me, that I look like this or whatever, like I'm super not passable. Well, the thing is, I get called a she like about 50% of the time. And I got, what was that? There's weird animal noises over there. I was in some place I hadn't been before and asked if they had a restroom, and they gave me the key to the women's room. So when people do shit like that, should I just be like, no. I'm actually a man. I'm taking woman hormones. I've got surgeries pending. What the fuck is that? That's just super fucking awkward. And someone like you that actually looks like a woman, you calling yourself a man is more illogical than someone like me that's baby trans calling themselves a woman, which I don't call myself a woman. If someone specifically asked me what I am, I would say that I'm a clocky trans woman. I'm on Titty Skittles for like 6 months now. Okay? So personally, I don't give a shit that you're talking shit about me and like my appearance and shit. I don't really give a shit at all. In fact, that's humorous to me that you spend a bunch of time on me compared to the other ones, because I'm just like extra clocky looking. Let's get the camera, there we go. I'm extra awful looking or something. Good, I don't give a fuck. But the thing is, Mary, that's really fucked up that you're doing that, because that could make someone unalive themselves. That's really fucked up that you're going around monetizing your content. You're making money off the suffering of other people who are gonna off themselves potentially because you're sitting around making fun of them. What the fuck does people's clocky appearance, like, focus on people's philosophy, okay? Like, so apparently you've delved into really disgusting territory. And you know, you can't scientifically justify everything, okay? You can't explain away everything with scientific explanation. What's the scientific explanation for why some people like red and some people like blue and some people like yellow? That's just our spirit. Like, I guess you're like the atheistic mindset that we're just like this people that are doing all this this bullshit that's happening. That, oh, you were born with a pee-pee, so therefore you should like
like you're a robot or something just because you were born with certain genitalia. You're supposed to be this thing. So would I be better off if I didn't transition and I was just still sitting around plucking my face every day and like being completely miserable? That would be better, right? That would be better because I'd be like, you know, man, you're like a trans person in denial, but like after they've transitioned. And you even admitted that maybe if you would have got more procedures, you would have just lived as a woman and just been happy. Well, maybe that's what you could still do that, you know? And here's something I meant to say in the other video I made about you. And I only want to make videos about you. God damn it, I have other shit I want to do. I have these stupid little cube Bluetooth speakers I want to do a review of. They have these ones that are pieces of shit, and they have these other ones that are the same price that are way better. I wanted to do a video about that. I had some other bullshit happen in my life that I had some fucking femboy drama. I was friends with this fucking femboy guy for 2 years, and then he fucking ended our fucking friendship in a totally disrespectful way. He could have just said, hey, don't want to be friends with you anymore and shit, but instead they just spewed a bunch of psycho bullshit on me that he knew I didn't want to. I don't even want to talk about that in this fucking video. But anyways, the fucking thing I was trying to say before my attention deficit disorder kicked in was how, so like the thing with the governments doing the fascism fucking bullshit, like, thing about that, it's not, did I even talk about this already? I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna go back and listen to this shit. I'm senile, I don't know what I'm saying or what I'm doing. I fucking stopped the recording 100 times to read my notes. The thing about the fascism, like anti-trans bills they're passing and stuff, is not necessarily that they're gonna even put us in camps or do something to us. It's that they're promoting cartoon level propaganda about trans people. That someone who is not cuckoo is not gonna believe that because they know better. But the trouble is that deranged people are eating up this cartoon level propaganda about us, and it's gonna get people killed. It's gonna get cis people killed. That's what's gonna be the result of that. And you know, I'm not one of those trans people that like demands that everybody accommodate me and shit. You know what I mean? Like, sure, I wear like really baby trans outfit. I got this one leopard skin thing I wear. I should have wore that, but it's too tight on my titties. And I have electrolysis today. I don't need that shit. Anyways, so for example, I don't use the women's room usually. When there's, like at my hospital I go to for HRT, I use the shit there. I actually started doing that recently because I figured, fuck it. Because it's less awkward that way. Because I have, I'll get into that in a minute. And then like this another place I go to that's like accepting and everyone there is super chill, so I use the women's room there. Because anyways though, it's super awkward to use the fucking men's room. I do it because I don't want to make people uncomfortable. Because people think that, oh, you're a T-slur, you're gonna, like, see the thing, I'll jump into that. The thing is, of course there's, hold on, I gotta stop the recording, there's someone right there. Okay, so as I was saying, so people think that if I'm in the women's room, because I have a pee-pee, I'm gonna do something to cis women with my pee-pee. But the thing about that is, I have super bad fucking gender dysphoria, okay? Like, I guess we'll dive into TMI. Oh shit, there's someone else about it. See how I'm looking to see if I'm far enough away to start talking about TMI shit? See, I'm falling into the same fallacy that you are. I'm one of the good ones. If you think that you're gonna be, I just think that shit about Blair White, and I used to think that shit about you, and I finally fucking realized how dumb that shit is, because you're still gonna be an undesirable. You think these people in your chat accept you, Mary, because you call yourself a man? Bro, they will throw you under the bus the first chance they get. They will. They don't care about you. You're just another freak to them. You're just a freak that's a bigot like them, and they find that amusing. But anyways, you see how I was avoiding speaking about TMI shit around people. See, the thing is, like, some of the people you do videos about, like, you're in the right sometimes. Like that one guy, I misgendered them too. I'm bad. That one trans woman that they had the orchiectomy and they still had the, the scrotum, and they were like in Disneyland and they were talking about that shit around people and their families. That's fucking disgusting. I don't like that shit. I don't like that person. If I was around that person, I'd call them out and say, man, you're fucking disgusting. Or I'd be like, woman, I have surfer bro lingo. Like, it's because I listened to Tim Osmond for so long, who's also transphobic piece of shit. You should go hang out with him, Mary. He'd probably pork you. Anyways, no, he wouldn't. I don't talk about him. But yeah, that person is disgusting for doing that. But then you take it too far. You're like making fun of them for for having no balls and still having the scrotum and the pee-pee. Where do you get off making fun of people for that shit? You have no balls or dick or scrotum. You call yourself a man. You're like that fucking bit from... I was going to put that in the beginning of the video, where it's like the scene from Ghostbusters, like, it's true, this man has no dick, and like put your face on the guy. I don't have that special effects ability though. It's just your fucking imagination. You're the fucking man with no dick, and you're making fun of people for having an orca. Like, where do you get off on fucking making fun of people for that shit? Fuck off with that shit. Focus on debating their fucking philosophy and addressing people's fucking bad behavior and shit. And that's all you need to be fucking doing. Like, when you fucking sit around and you fucking, your little minions in your chat, you make fun of them and shit like you were doing to me, which I don't care, like I wanted you to. Focus on me, yes, focus on, I'm here to absorb your transphobia from you fucking people. So you don't go around hurting innocent people who can't handle that shit. When you do that shit to people, all your little minions go to their channels and shit and fucking torment those people. Is that okay? Like, would you have liked that when you were fucking baby trans and shit? I'm pretty sure you fucking wouldn't have. So that's pretty fucked up of you. I'm gonna fucking stop this recording and read my damn notes. I don't have any harsh feelings towards you, Mary. Like, I sympathize with you. Because me and you went through the same thing. That you transitioned and it made your gender dysphoria worse. I have a lot of sympathy for what happened to you. Because the same thing happened to me. Is I went and got electrolysis on my... You see, I trimmed it. I have only a few little hairs left, but I wake up super smooth every day, and it's super. That has helped my mental health so much. I'm getting flustered. What was I trying to say? Oh yes, I don't really have. Like, you're kind of crossing the line that you're going around just making fun of people and shit, and you're monetizing it. Like, have a little bit more morality. Be a little bit more compassionate and caring for people. Like you said that you're not against people transitioning, but yet you're fucking spend the time to make fun of me for being clocky and shit. But like, I understand that. I'm fucking understood what I'm getting into. That like I'm going turbo femme and shit. That people are gonna be assholes to me, and I don't hold any judgment for that shit. So whatever. But like I was saying, I went through the same thing that I did. I was silly me. But don't get electrolysis if you're pretending to be normal. Don't do it, because it's gonna fuck it all up. And you're gonna be super baby trans and shit and have goddamn men with no dicks in England making fun of you that look like women, but they call themselves men. That don't make no damn sense, Mary. You utilitarian, like, you look like a woman, you sound like a woman, it's fine. Just call yourself a trans woman. It's fine. No one cares. No one... Just because you were born with a pee-pee, that doesn't have to dictate the rest of your life. That's insane. Like, if someone... Why is it just this one thing that is so unacceptable to you people? Like, people who were born that had like an extra sixth finger, this little stubby sixth extra finger, and they had that shit removed, do they have to identify with that shit for the rest of their life? Oh, I'm not a regular 5-finger person. I was actually born with 6 fingers, so I'm not like... No, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Like, the only people who should know... Or like, if you're gonna have a lover, or like, the only people, like, you get in a relationship, they should know, and maybe that person's parents have the right to know, but that's about it. No, it's nobody's damn business. It's really not. Like, especially if you're really passable, it's nobody's damn business. Like, if you're super clocky, yeah, you should avoid using certain restrooms and shit, like, whatever, though. I was trying to say, like, my face, like, see, I get flustered like this and I get off topic. The same thing happened to me that happened to Mary. I did my face. I was just going to do my face because I was sitting around plucking my face for 12 hours a day, literally, because I'm not supposed to have testosterone. Let me get into that later. And it finished. See, my egg cracked 20 years ago, but I kept taping it up. I wanted to transition since I was 12. I wanted to be a girl since I was like, this doesn't go away, okay? Not everyone born trans either should necessarily transition, and I tell that to people who talk to me about this shit. It's like, not everyone should necessarily transition. Some people are born like this and they express it through being like really gay, ultra feminine gay man, whatever. But for me, this was the right decision. And so like I said, I fixed my face and it just made me my gender dysphoria worse. I'm like, but the rest of this sucks. I never did. Oh yeah, we're gonna get into my TMI. So the thing is, like, gender is located in the soul, okay? Like, it has nothing to do with physiology. Like, you're trying to make excuses for being trans and it's silly. Like, you think we're just meat suits. You're like an atheistic person who thinks, and this has nothing to do with religion. I don't have any religious beliefs, but I do believe that our spirit comes from someplace else. It comes from someplace else. I don't know where the fuck that is. But some people are feminine spirit, and some people are male spirit, and sometimes we slam down into the wrong meat suit. And I know that was true for me. That I knew that testosterone was poisoning my soul. And as soon as I got on Titty Skittles, the first day, my brain, like, everything is like working better. It's like, oh wow, I'm actually supposed to run on gasoline, not diesel. Can you imagine that shit? And I wish someone would have told me that shit years ago, that if you're suffering from this shit, you should at least try getting on HRT for a week and see. Because yes, I'm off of drugs and alcohol now. My mind works so much better. I don't need to like be on drugs all the time to escape my consciousness. I'm just happy being myself, being with myself now. And yeah, I'm super, whatever. I'm gonna get procedures and shit. I got this fucking John Travolta fucking jaw. I look better at certain angles though. And I have the same problem with Mary too, that I obliterated my eyebrows. See, Mary, instead of like talking shit about me, you could like come to my channel and be like, give me tips on painting on my eyebrows, because I really need to learn how to do that. Because my eyebrows have been gone for a long time, because what happened was, I couldn't pluck my face anymore when I was getting electrolysis, and I have a nervous tick to do that, because that's my gender dysphoria. And I was already plucking my eyebrows, but then I really plucked them a lot when I had electrolysis, because I couldn't pluck here, so I'm like, I have to rip something out of my skin. And that's why you shouldn't ignore having gender dysphoria. Don't do what I did and then pretend to be normal for 20 years. That shit will ruin your life. And I didn't want to transition because I thought that like it would make me like fake. I would be like, but really, I was not being true to myself at all. Like, the life I've lived has been totally stupid and pointless. Like, just, I've done the stupidest thing. I've literally tried everything to not be this way. And guess what? It doesn't work. It does not work. If you have gender dysphoria like this, like I do, just transition. Just do it. And yeah, that's kind of a hot take. Like, Mary would have an issue with me saying that. Like, yeah, don't just do it. I guess, like, think about it, talk to a psychologist. Yeah. But don't pretend to be normal. Don't ignore this shit, at least. At least, I couldn't admit this shit to myself for years. And then I come to around Mary Chew and it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I was at the peak of my pretending to be normal and being in denial about this shit phase when I came across Mary Chew, and I said like the stupidest shit I don't agree with, that I still have to try to find all that shit in her comments and delete it. See how like I have Family Guy cutaways that just go all over the place? So the thing I was gonna say is like, so I don't necessarily agree with like people having like their gender is fluid and they've like got 100 different genders and they've got like all kinds of crazy neopronouns. I don't agree with a lot of that shit, but guess what? I'm not gonna diss people for that shit. I'm not gonna like say that they're not whatever they're saying they are. I don't give a shit. They can have whatever identity they have. That doesn't affect me. I don't care. It's like, I don't need to degrade other people for what they, because I don't really, see, the thing is, I understood from a young age that like we have different religions and philosophies and different ideas, and science has this idea and philosophies, ancient philosophies have these different ideas, but nobody really knows what the great mystery of life is. We don't know. And I knew that from a very young age. So I had a lot of trouble people telling me what to do. Like, yeah, but you guys don't understand what we are, why we're here, what the purpose of life is. You don't actually know that. So why are you You're trying to tell me what to do. So I'm open-minded to what gender is. Is gender located in our soul? Is it like perhaps it is that it's genetic factors that make people be this way, but also it's like it's your soul energy too that makes your DNA like that way when your soul slams into your body when you're born and shit. We don't really know. So I'll talk about what I believe. What I think is that there's male spirit and then there's female spirit. And some of them go into the correct body and then some of them don't. And then that's when you get a transgender person. That's what that means to me. That's what a transgender person is. It's the person whose meat suit is the opposite of what their gender is usually associated as. And someone who's born that way, like I said, they shouldn't necessarily transition. But if you know, you know. Like I knew this shit at 19. Like at 19 years old, like I couldn't hide from that shit anymore. But then I still pretended to be normal like a fool. Because, oh yeah, I was gonna get into the TMI aspect. Like, I can't use my member to stick in to another person. Like, I don't go that way. That's just not who I am. Just because I have those parts doesn't mean that I'm gonna behave that way, because I don't have it in me to behave that way. The only way I could ever get off is to pretend that it's somebody else's shaft going into my hole, you see. And yeah, that's a little TMI, but that's just who I am. Like, there's nothing you can do to make someone not be like that. There's nothing you can do to me to make me enjoy having facial hair or enjoy having, I don't even enjoy having erections. That's how bad my bottom dysphoria is. I don't enjoy having erections, and the idea of shafting in, like, no. In fact, I had atrophy down there because, even before starting TD Skittles, because I'm so disgusted by it that I wasn't even wanking myself anymore. So, like, if you don't use it, you lose it. I was already losing that shit before I started taking TD Skittles, okay? And the only reason I don't even get it up anymore is to keep things intact so that there's something to work with when I maybe eventually have bottom surgery someday. Okay, I'm almost done here. I've said just about everything I have to say. So the other thing I want to talk about is, so Mary, because I've watched Mary's content, I understand how her brain works, okay? So Mary talks about how, like, everyone is either male body biased or female body biased, because, like, even intersex people, they have a dominant gonad or whatever. But so, okay, let's say there's a person who's 51%, they're intersex, right? But they're 51% male body. I don't like to use male and female to describe the meat suit, because to me, male and female describes what's in your soul. I prefer to say man or woman, but I'll say it the bigot way, because that's what you guys will understand, right? So there's a intersex person that's 51% male, gonad, or whatever. So they shouldn't be allowed to transition. They shouldn't be allowed to, and their soul is female. Like, they're like me. They're like, I can't even, and Mary even said that shit too. Mary said that she couldn't even get it up, because, like, Mary has the same bottom dysphoria as me, but she's coping for not looking. You're quite passable, Mary. Like, you're got issues, dude. Like, so that's just gonna dictate, because someone was born a boy or they were born 51% intersex male, they should just define who they are for the rest of their life. That's crazy, especially if they transition and they're passable. You really have an issue with them calling themselves a woman? Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Even if they're not passable, who gives a shit? It's not hurting anybody. And I understand. I understand that some people are afraid of us and shit, and you have to be cautious sometimes. Like, that's why I usually use the fucking men's room. But since, oh yeah, I meant to talk more about that. So that causes a lot of issues sometimes. Like, there was this one time when, like, there's been like 10 times when I've gone to the men's room, and then some guy comes in, and they're like, "Is this the women's room?" And it's like, "There's urinals. If you use your detective skills, I mean, come on, I'm not that. I mean, I guess if you just glance at me, I don't know." And they'll come in there and they'll be like, "Is this the woman?" And there was this one guy that he was the funniest one because I'm trying to get where you see. There we go. This guy comes. I'm in the In-N-Out Burger. And I'm standing there at the sink washing my hands, right? And this guy comes in and he sees me. And he starts glitching out. Like, it was pretty funny. It is worth the whole ordeal of being born in the wrong body just for that one guy, for him to be such a silly man. So he sees me. He starts glitching out. He starts looking at the women's room sign. He starts looking at the men's room sign like 5 times, like this. Like he didn't know what the fuck to do. He was just so uncomfortable. I'm like, I know. He's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. So I forgot what he said. I think he said, "Is this the women's room?" I'm like, "No." And I forgot what he said. But then he apologized to me. I was like, and he's all like, "I'm sorry," and I'm like, "Don't be sorry." So I think he was like soft apologizing for voting for the Trumpenstein because it was like he was a transphobic person, but like he was like becoming like woke and shit, right? And he was becoming an ally, but then that was his like dawning, I've become an ally person, right? So it's his first time dealing with the consequences of voting in transphobic shit that someone that's obviously like a trans woman is using the men's room. And maybe it was just that he's like, "Oh no, now I have to be now the trans women's have to be in the men's room with me, and I'm uncomfortable with that. Make them go in the women's room." But then there's gonna be like, trans men in the men's room, and that's gonna make him uncomfortable too. So yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? But ideally, we could live in a world where it's understood that people, like, it's very obvious. I'm the best example of this. I can promise you that I went through the wrong puberty. I spent years feeling cringe and awful about that thought. But I started being honest with myself about that shit. I made a long, crazy rant to myself. There was this day that the power was out in my house, and I was just laying on the floor, being depressed, and I made this long, epic rant about my gender dysphoria and how I went through the wrong puberty, and I was being honest with myself with that shit, like really strong for the first time. And then at the peak of my little speech to myself, the power came back on, and I was like, holy shit. I can promise you that I'm not supposed to be on testosterone, okay? Like, being on HRT, it has made my life so much better. My mental health is, and I don't care if I'm clocky looking for the rest of my life. I don't care. I really don't. I'm happy to be. I said this one thing to Kylie Biley as a joke, but YouTube wouldn't let me say it, of course. They let bigots say all kinds of disgusting things, but I make a silly little joke, and they shadow ban it. What I said to Kylie Biley was, hey, I'm going to open up a business where I'm like a transphobe magnet, where I go out the front of the club, so all the transphobes like focus on me, and then all the pretty passable trans girls go out the back, and I'm like the trans distractor. That's like my business model. I'm like a self-hired, working for myself, clocky trans woman for hire. I'll come hang out with your group of trans girls, and I'll divert and get the transphobes' attention so that they leave the pretty ones alone. Said it as a joke. See, I always do this. I had a more important point I wanted to make, which was that it's my hope that someday people will get over this and they will understand that, yes, people are born this way. They can't help it. They're born this way, and the only way to help them is to give them gender-affirming care. And that sounds cringe as fuck, but it's true. And children aren't going to turn trans because you just inform them that some people are born like they're not, okay? They're just not. Like, that's cartoon level silly bullshit. People, I'm sure there's gonna, like, that's why you put, when someone's trying to say that they are that way, put them through, psychological screenings and shit. All right, like. Ideally, we could be living in a world where it's understood that people are born this way, and then give them the proper gender-affirming care. Because, like, transphobes try to say that a baby can consent to having its foreskin chopped off, but a 16-year-old can't consent to hormone blockers. So which is it? Like, I'm so tired of hypocritical bullshit like that. I really am. But my point, though, is if we lived in a world where this was accepted, that people are born this way, then we'd have a whole new generation of people that are able to transition correctly and at a young enough age that they are passable, and it wouldn't be an issue. There wouldn't be an issue with clocky bitches like me going in the women's room, because everybody would be passable and shit. Not that there's something wrong with not being passable, but if you are like me and you're a clocky ass bitch, like, yeah, you have to take some effort. I'm an advocate of that to use caution. Because, like, when I go to the bathroom, see, we're here at the mall, right? And I like to go to the one bathroom in the JCPenney's on the second floor, because in the men's room, because no one goes there. And I was going to do that one time when I was here, and I'm just walking along, minding my own business. And I was dressed in a super femme like this. Like, it was even more femme than what I'm dressed as now. And this one bitch was like, "Can I help you, sir?" And I'm like, "I'm just going to the bathroom." And she's like, "It's over there, sir." And I'm like, "Thanks." And I was tempted to say, it's bitches like you that cause trans women to get titty implants too early. And then they have Blair White boobs, where you got boobs on top of boobs because you got boob implants too early. And then you were on estrogen, then you developed boobs. Now you got boobs on top of... Fuck that. I don't want no Blair White titties. So, and again, I'm not interested in controlling how people, like, if they want to be that way, fine. If they're basically being transphobic, okay, like, and that's their right to be transphobic. That they see that I'm dressed like that and I look like this, and they still call me sir and shit. Like, I get treated like a woman, especially like by black people. I was walking along in the Walmart parking lot one time, and this black guy was like, "Put a smile on that face, you beautiful young woman." I was like, holy shit. And I was walking around a different Walmart one time, and this other black guy, he saw me very briefly, and he was just like, "Oh damn, that's a tall bitch." Like, his dick just went, woo. So yeah, I satisfy some people's woman expectations. Some people are just nice. Like, whatever. I don't give a shit. If people want to be transphobic, like, that's their prerogative. I'm not interested in like passing bills to say that, like, if you misgender people that they'll get in trouble and shit. Because that crosses the line of our freedom of speech and shit. But then again, like, if you're having a live stream and you're, like, intentionally just making fun of people for being clocky, you're kind of fucked up, especially when you're trans yourself and you were baby trans at one point. It's kind of fucked up. Maybe you shouldn't do that, because that should be a community guidelines violation on YouTube. I would think it would be. Like, if you were just in the real world and you want to do shit like that, go do it. But you're on a platform here, like a social media platform, and you're kind of being a piece of shit. And there's this one trans person I watched that they're very suicidal and shit. And they're like 10 years older than me, and they actually look pretty good. They're not on HRT yet because they live in a piece of shit red state, but they got like nicer hair than me. Their face is prettier than mine. They do a really good job with makeup, and they do a really good job with their voice. But like someone like you, Mary, is gonna come along and talk shit about them, and this person is very fucking suicidal. They're always talking about their suicidal ideations and shit. So maybe you should like not fuck with people like that, Mary. Like when you come across people like that, maybe don't even make a video about them. Just leave them the fuck alone. Okay? Maybe you should just review people's philosophy and call out their bad behavior and shit, and just leave it at that. Okay? Like, I got nothing but love for you, Mary. You kind of pissed me off. Like, you kind of have issues. Like, you're in
denial about being trans after you transition, and you're like, everything you do, you're just making excuses for being trans. Like, it's just who you are. It's just the way your spirit is. You can't scientifically quantify it, okay? You can't quantify what's in someone's spirit, like you can't quantify like why they like the color purple or why they like the color yellow or anything like that. It's just the way someone is. It's just the way their spirit is. We're not robots. We are not this meat suit. That's why I think that transgender people are important, because we are showing that we are not this meat suit. We are not the meat suit. We come from someplace else and we live in these meat suits. I think it's that I was born this way because I had too many lifetimes in a row of being born a woman and then getting raped and then thrown in a grape dungeon and forced to give birth multiple times in a row, too many lifetimes in a row, and I was like, I need a lifetime where that shit's not even a possibility. And then here I am like this. I'm like, ooh, down there they have gender affirming care. I'll incarnate in a boy body down there and live trans. And then I was too shy to do it. I knew I should at 19, but then it's like, so whatever. I'll just be a fucking clocky ass trans bitch. I'm just gonna fucking embrace this shit. Like, that's what you should do, Mary. Just get some more procedures and enjoy living as a woman. Like, stop making excuses for this shit. It's a little too late to be in denial. You already had the snip. I mean, it's a little bit bullshit that you had successful bottom surgery with depth. And you live your life like this. You call yourself a man and shit. It's like, you're free to do whatever you want, but I'm just saying that's like, you got issues. And I'm very sorry for it. And whatever. I don't hold any judgment against you, except for the fact that you're bullying people. I really don't like that. That's fucking bullshit that you're doing that shit. You keep doing it to me. I don't care. You can do that shit to me. I don't give a fuck at all. But you're doing that shit to people who can't handle it, and then they're gonna off themselves. The blood's gonna be on your hands. So you just keep that in mind. Okay, bye. That's all I have to say. Ooh, rainbow. So I had a couple. I hit the door on the way out. So I had a couple things I forgot to say. So I had this bathroom incident that I wanted to talk about, which was that. So I went to the men's room, of course, because I don't want to make people uncomfortable. But then they make me uncomfortable because I'm basically outing myself as a trans woman, or whatever you want to call me. Call me whatever you want. I don't give a shit. Except, like, slandering me with bullshit. Don't do that. You want to call me slurs or something, though, like, that are associated with trans women, that's fine, but other shit is not okay. Motherfucker, you. Anyways, though. So it kind of outs myself to go in the men's room. That's the problem with that it attracts crazy people, right? So, I'm at this mall. Wow, that is really echoey when I stand right there. So I'm in this mall, and I go in the one men's room over there or whatever, and there was this weird guy in the hallway, and he sees me. And I go in just to wash my hands, because I was eating something and my hands were dirty. I just wanted to wash my hands. And I go and I go in there, and then he comes in with me, and then he's like, hi, and he's like being fucking weird. I'm like, okay. Then I wash my hands and I leave, and then he just, there's always weird shit happening when I'm trying to record. And then I leave, and he's just standing around there still being weird. And then the other thing I was going to say was that perhaps the other reason I came here was to have sympathy for men, because I think in past life, I still am in this lifetime, a femtard, man-hating, feminist femtard person. I'm still that way. But like, I think that's why I came into this life this way, so that I could gain some understanding of men and live in their shoes for a little while and gain some compassion for them. And I think I have gained that. I have a lot more sympathy for men now than I would have if I was born a cis woman. If I was born a cis woman, I probably would have done unspeakable things. When they did the Roe vs. Wade, they retracted that, I probably would have done really, really bad things that I won't even mention. Hypothetically, I would have done if I were a cis woman, because that might get me in trouble. But you could use your imagination. I would have done really bad things for them doing that. So it's probably a good reason, that reason alone, that I wasn't born a cis woman. Because it's basically what I've learned about men is
They enjoy having their genitalia override their brains. That's what they're all about. That's their whole life. I don't personally understand that because I don't go that way, but that's what they're into and shit. So that's all we have for today. Protect Mary Chu from the cis woman TERFs, because she is a TERF. I mean, what else would you call that? She is a transphobic TERF trans woman. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's just what she is. So protect Mary Chu from the other, well, not from the other. Protect Mary Chu from the cis women TERFs over in TERF Island. And protect Positive Squad. Nothing but love for you, except for when you cause people to possibly unalive themselves because you're being mean to them as a cope when you're calling yourself a man and then bullying trans women that are less pretty than you and like as a cope. That's not cool. But other than that, I got nothing but love for you. Protect Positive Squad. Protect Mary from the cis women on TERF Island, for the other TERFs that are cis women. Protect Positive Squad. Have a good time. Bye.